Okay. So good morning, everyone. So last week up to we discussed about the work process administration, right? Work process administration. In the work process administration, we have discussed, right? So how to uh installations, then after that post installation activities, then we discussed about the background jobs, which are the very important topic. So and also the spool administration, the printers related administration part. So all these things we discussed, right? How to check the work process, logs, trace, all these things we discussed in the our previous classes, right? That's fine. So today we are going to discuss about the one more topic. New topic is called the client administration, right? Client administration. So client administration, what is mean by client here? So whenever you do the SAP installation, you will get the two default clients, right? So 000 and 001 are the default clients, right? Default. So default SAP clients are the default SAP clients. Default the SAP clients here. So are the default SAP clients. In these clients, we cannot do any business here. We cannot use these clients for the business purpose. Why? Because here master data. Why? Because these are the SAP clients. So which means SAP clients means as part of the installation, these clients came. So only SAP data available here. Master data available here. SAP master data available here. SAP master data available here. So that is the reason. So that is the reason here we should not use, we should not use this one. That is the reason. So we should not use this as our business client. That is the reason we should not use this as our business client, right? So that's why SAP, we have these two clients are SAP provided. We should not use these two clients for the our business purpose. Our business purpose. So that is the reason we have to create the one more clients. We have to create it, either the 100 client or 200 client or 300 client or 400 client. So whatever the clients, we can create it, right? So why? Because client number says 0002 999 until this, so we can create any clients. But here already two clients are, we have already two clients. So apart from this two clients, any number we can give it. So client number starts with the 0002 999. So which means, so two clients already there. You can create the more clients, depends upon the your business scenarios. You can create the more clients in your organization, right? For the client. But the production, only one client can be used for the business purpose, not the all the clients. So that is the main thing here, right? So 000 to 999. So first of all, what is client? Why we need client, right? So that is the, everyone has one doubt, what is client? So client is the one of the business entity, right? So client means, if I talk about the definition wise, client is the business entity, business entity, business entity. So if you want to run the business, we want to run the business, we want to run the business, you need a, you need a, you need a client, definitely. Suppose if you want to store the business data, definitely you need a client. Without client, you cannot do anything in the SAP side. So client is the very important here to run the business. The client is the very important here to run the business here, right? Client is the business. If you want to run the business, you need a client here. Client is the very important here, right? Client is the, client is the very important to run the business. That is the very important thing, activity here, right? So that is the client and business entity that we have to run it. But how to create that client then? How to create that client here? How to create the clients here? So to create the clients, what we required here? How to create the client, then how to create the client, and what we required to create the client. So what is the need of creating the client? So need, we know. Why? Because to run your business, you need a client number, one number, we should define it. So, sir, already we have the two clients SAP given. Can't we use those clients? No. Why? Because those are the SAP clients. So we cannot use for business purpose, right? So we cannot use for the business purpose. We cannot use it. So cannot use for the business purpose. Okay, this is the business entity. You cannot use for the business purpose. Okay, that is the main thing. So how to create the client then? First of all, to create the client, so we need to use the transaction code. SCC4 is the transaction code for so client creation. So go to the SCC4, then we can create the client here. So log into the systems. So here you have the two options, right? So here you can use this. Okay, lastly, I will explain about this self. Okay, don't worry. So I'm logging to the PRD production. So see here, we have the only two clients, either the 000 and a 001. Now we can log into the any client, right? Any client you can log in. Okay, any client you can log into the systems now, right? So I log into the system now. So here, go to the SCC4 is the so transaction code for the client creation, right? So here already we have the clients someone created already. So I'm going to, so you can, so already clients are there, right? So these two are our guys are created. It's not come as part of the default. So, right? So you can see, just click on the change button, then click on the new option. Click on the new option. Then you will get the one form here. To create the client, you will get the one form here. So here you need to fill the which client you are going to create. Suppose like 400, then 400 client. Then here, what is this client? Maybe so training client. Okay. So what is the city? City means, suppose if I take the so Hyderabad. So what is the logical system then here? So then here you are in the so dilemma. So what is mean by logical system here, right? We don't have any entry here. What to fill here, right? So here immediately to create the client, there is a dependency dependency task is for the logical system logical system creation. So first of all, before you go ahead and create the client, so the logical system we have to define it. Otherwise, so client cannot be created. It's not the good practice to create the client, right? So client logical system. So what is mean by logical system? So this is also same, like to identify the to to identify the client. So within the to identify the client within the landscape, in the landscape, you need a logical system. You need a logical system to identify the client. So take a note of this content, like how to identify the client. Why we have to identify the client here? So suppose in entire our landscape, suppose if we see our landscape means so group of systems, right? In our landscape, suppose like we have the development system, we have the quality system, we have the production system, you have the in your landscape you have the three systems landscape, right? So one is for the development. So all development activities we have here. Then next one is the QAS, quality related activities. Then the production related activities we will perform here, right? Why? Because all activities we will not mix in one system, and then also the same system business users cannot be used, right? Why? Because so it's a business system. So only business users can log in and they can do the transactions in the production system. But what about these two systems are? So what about these two systems? So why we need and one more system here? Why we need two more systems here? Right? We have the production fine, non-production development quality are there. So why we need these two systems? We have already one system is not enough. No, why? Because if we perform development quality in all in one system, so there is a testing affected, which will cause the issues in the production systems. So that is the reason the activities will be segregated. Activities will be separated in the each and every system. Suppose if you take the showrooms, so any product. Suppose if you check the car showrooms, the manufacturing is it in the one place, then testing unit is in the one place, then finally it will come to the delivery showrooms, right? So finally production showrooms it will come here. The deliveries will be book, users will book the orders here. But before that, we have the development unit, manufacturing units, then testing units, then it will go to the finally it will come to the delivery, right? So like that we have the like that we have the things are there here in the system. All right, this is the so that's why so we have the three systems in the landscape. So when you're creating the client, here you need to create the client, here you need to create the client, here you need to create the client. If you want to do something here, first you need to do the something here, then something here. Once it is success, then you have to go move to the here. Why? Because directly you cannot do anything in the production system. Why? Because this production system is being used by the your developer, sorry, your business users, so that they will do the business. If you mix it all activities, what will happen? If something goes wrong, your system will be crashed, your system will be down, so that you are in the situation to recover the system. So it may affect the your daily day-to-day business activities. So the customers are SAP, they won't agree or they won't recommend to put all activities in the one system. That's why we have to build a separate activity, separate systems. We have to build it. We have to move the changes from the development to quality, then quality to so production systems. We have to move the changes here. We have to development to quality changes. We have to move the changes to the here, right? So this is the way. So logical system creation here. This is the way we need to tap we need to use this one, right? Development, quality, and production operations. This is the way. So here, so here you are creating the one client here, right? 100 client. Suppose like 400 client you are creating in this client. So here also you need to create the 400 client, right? Then here also you need to create the 400 client. One client should be the main. So here also should maintain entire landscape. You should maintain the similar settings, right? So if you are doing something here, then first you have to do, you have to develop here, then you have to test it here, then you have to move the changes to the production system. So entire all these three landscapes, all these three systems should be in the sync. Three systems should be in the sync. Sync means the same settings. You are creating the 400 client, 400 client, 400 client. So then how can I identify? Suppose in the network layer, the data is coming. The network side data is coming, right? Outside of the system to your system, data is coming to your system. Then how it is identified? So which system should go? And also sometimes we will maintain the multiple clients in the systems, right? Suppose here someone create the 500 client, 600 client, 700 client. So in the development quality system, we can create the multiple clients. We can create it for so different testing methods purpose, right? So suppose here development we have the 4 clients. So when the data is coming outside external to your SAP system, which client it should go and insert. Why? Because database is only one, but how it should go inside of the table and insert it. There is some identification, some differentiation should be required right here. So that is the reason here we need to define the logical system. So the logical system naming convention would be here. So SID, CLNT, and client number. This is the so naming convention of the so logical system. SID means suppose PRD, CLNT, the client number 400. So that suppose if you have one more client, SID, CLNT 500, right? SID, CLNT 600, right? Like that we have the 3 clients. So like that we can create the logical systems. We can create it. The naming convention of the logical system is like SID, CLNT, and client number. SID, CLNT, client number is the so logical system for the this one logical systems. Logical system. These are the logical systems, right? So logical systems like that we can create it here. So why we have to create means the data differentiation is required. This is the 400 client data. This is the 500 client data. This is the 600 client data. The differentiation purpose. Otherwise, what will happen? All will be mixed and it will affect to the background job administration, other administration also, right? So that is the reason each client, the data is separate. Separate means we should be somewhere there is a differentiation, right? So here by defining the logical system, that differentiation will come here. So here before you go ahead and create the logical systems here, you need to create the logical systems. You have to create it here. So you have to create the logical systems here. So how to create the logical system means, so to create the logical system, you need to use the sale or BD54. BD54 are the transaction codes, are the T codes for the logical system creations. Okay, sale or BD54 are the transaction code. So take a one more new session. So then go to the BD54. So BD54 is the transaction code, BD54. So here you can create the logical systems, you can create it, right? Click on the new entry, here define it. So PRD, CLNT, so 400 client. So 400, so client, something like description, you can put it out, save it, right? So it will ask the transport request number. So what is mean by transport request number means the next topic which we are going to discuss about the same, right? So this is the just give the description and okay it will generate the one transport request number, right? So created, then you can create the multiple things also created. For 100 client also I am creating 100 client. Description you can put anything, not a problem. Okay, then done. So then like that you need to define the multiple logical systems we have to create. Depends upon the clients, we have multiple logical systems you can create it. Otherwise what will happen, the data which is coming to the systems inside of the system and the table level which is not shown in which client related data, right? That's why to identify the client, to identify the which client data is this, we have to define the logical system. So logical systems are very important here. To identify the client within the landscape, you need a logical systems activities. So, okay, systems I have the logical systems I defined now. Now I will go to the client creation page. Here, just click on the OK button. Then you can see previously we have the zero values. Now we have the whatever the client you are creating, the same value you have to give it here, right? You have to define it here. Then currency, INR, right? What is the client role? Sir, how can I know? How can I tell to my user this is the production system, this is the test system, this is the demo system, this is the development system? How can I know or how can we tell? By seeing the SID, we know, right? By defining the SIDs, we know this is the development. But how the system knows? This is the only development related role. This is the development system. How the system knows, which means so the role which you are giving here, the role which you are giving here, that is the role, that is the client role. The role which you are giving here, that is the thing here, that is the one. So suppose we are giving production, that is the production system. If you are giving test, that is the test system. Test means training, customization. So demo, training. So this is the development system. Then I can put like customization. So then what about the these testings? These are the client changes. Client changes. Suppose you are creating the 400 client, you want to changes without any automatic recording. Suppose if you put this automatic recording by default, what will happen? The people who are doing changes in the 400 client, that will be recorded. That will be recorded, the changes. So you want to put the no changes allowed, no one will do any changes in the systems. Changes without automatic recording and transports are not allowed. So no transports will be created when we are doing these options. So basically in the non-production systems, the changes will be open, and especially for production systems, so you cannot directly go ahead and do the changes in the system. That's why we'll close the settings. This is the client specific settings, which means only this client related objects, if you want to change it, then here if you put the no changes are allowed, so you cannot do any changes in the system. Suppose this is a development system. Development means so many changes will happen in the system. So that's why I put like changes are allowed, something like that. I put it here, right? So same as like in the real time also, except production and regression or quality, all development systems are in the, so changes are allowed here, right? So then what about the cross client object changes? Cross client means system specific objects, right? It is applicable for the 0, 000, 100 client, 200 client, all the clients. Those are the cross client. So cross client means client independent objects. So some objects are independent for the client. So which means you can change it from the 000, you can change it from the 001, you can change it from the 100 client. So those are the independent client, independent chains. Okay, so if you want to change those changes also, you don't want to perform the changes for the this one, then you can just so no changes to the repository and cross client changes you can put. You want to changes, then you can put like changes are allowed, like that you can change the setting. These are the client settings. So next one is the copyright protection mode. Suppose so copy client copy, which means you want to override the client copies, then so you can just mention, means other clients data you want to copy to the system, then you can mention, so just no restriction. You want to have some restriction, then you can put the some restriction, something like that, which means you cannot do other clients copy data to here in this clients, right? So these are the so client copy settings here. So this one logical system definitions and client settings are very important here. So client settings are very important here, which means client specific settings. Client specific settings means here only applicable for the this client, only applicable for the this client here only. So which means 400 client. 400 client means it is applicable for the only 400 client. So which means if you want to, you don't want to do any changes in the system, just remove the no changes are allowed in the systems, right? No changes are allowed in the system. If you put this one, the client is closed from the changes. The client is closed from the changes means you cannot do any changes, anything from the in the system. You means normal activities you can perform it. But if you want to change the any program or any report, or if you want to create anything, cannot do. Especially in the production systems, we cannot do anything here like this, right? That's why all the production systems like closed status, and non-production systems means development, suppose testing and sandbox, it's a open status, which means changes are allowed, so that you can just save it. So okay, then data is saved. So which means the client which you created, the 400 client is so created here. The 400 client is created here. So you created the 400 client here, right? You created the 400 client. So this is the way we have to create the client here. So many things we discussed, right? To create the client, we need a logical system. What is mean by logical system means, so to identify the client, we need a logical system. So like that we have defined, right? So and also client number. So and also logical system naming convention created. Then what about the client settings here? So every day, this is the one of the important activity. Normally, uh, weekly 2 times or 3 times or every day, sometimes some customers we will get the client to open and client close. Open the system for modifications, close the system from the modifications. Every day we will get the request from our functional and development teams. So in this case, you need to come to the SCC4, SCC4, you have to come to the here. Then which client they want to open it. Then select that client. Select that client. So which client they want to close it. Select that client. Then close it. Close it means no changes are allowed. No changes are allowed. Save it, which means they cannot do any changes in the system. So normally these settings will be in the production system. Why? Because production you cannot directly do any changes. Why? Because it will come from development, quality, and production. Right? If you put this changes are allowed, the changes are allowed, automatic recording the changes, which means anyone can do the changes in the systems. Anyone can do the changes in the systems. This is the way, right? So this is the client specific and cross client changes. Cross client means so client independent. Client specific means so client specific means specific client dependent. So let me write it here. Okay. So client client specific means client specific and cross client. So there are two technical words. Client specific means only only the particular client, which means so only the specific client you can only do the changes. Cross client means so client independent, not specific to the independent, not specific to the that particular client. It's for all. It's all, not specific client. It's for the so all. So that's why client specific, only particular client. Cross client means it's for entire system wide related clients. Those are the changes, right? Those are the so client specific settings and cross client settings. Those are the settings here. So now we created the client creation is done now, right? So then what next? So you created the 400 client, then fine. So then why we are logging? You created the client, then why we are still logging to the 400 client then? So why we are still logging to the 400 client then? Why we are still logging to the 400 client then? So sorry, why we are not still logging to the 400 client, right? Why? Because you created your own client, training client you created. Everything we have to perform from the 400 client only, all the business operations or developments. Then why you are using the 000 001? So initially we don't have any client. So basis configuration related activities, other things we can perform from the 000 or 001, we can perform it. Now, how to log in now? Then you created the client. Then my user work? Will my user work? No, right? It won't work. Then why? Why? Because you just created the client. There is no data inside of the client. Just you created the client. Then how can I log into the newly created client? So before I go ahead and explain the topic, so anyone, any questions from here regarding the client creation, client logical systems, client open and client close. So client open, client close is for the normally we will get the bulk request we will get from the functional and development teams to open and close. That time we will open it. So any questions here regarding these two topics?
Ravi, without logical system, we can't create in
We can
SCC.
we can create it, but it's not, you may face the some issues, data flow related issues. But because without client you created the 400 client, 500 client also you created. So you want to save the data, you want to create the which client it should store, which client it should save, right? So the why? Because the table is only one. The table, the clients are many, right? The clients are many. In the SAP side, if you see the SAP architecture, see this is the SAP presentation layer. This is the SAP. This is the database layer. Right? In the database level, there is an employee table, right? So here the user logging, and user logging to the 400 client. SAP, one of the good thing is so each client we can do the separate businesses we can perform it. So is logging to the 400 client, same database is logging to the 400 client. So there, same system, same SID, 400 client is logging and he is inserting the records here. He is inserting the records. This is also go to the same table, right? So one more person is logging to the 500 client. So 500 client. So then he is doing the similar changes or different changes. This is also go to the same database. Why? Because so users are different, but database is only one. But if database is only one means table is only one, right? Then So here, how the system knows this is the 400 client data, how the system knows here this is the 500 client data, how the system knows. Why? Because here, while saving the data, there is a one logical system. Under the logical system, the data will be saved here. So logical system means it will create the one syntax like suppose PRD CLNT 400, then employee number 1, 1, 2, 3. Suppose like Ravi, some records will be saved here. Same as like PRD CLNT the 500, then employee number 1, 2, 3. Ravi. So then it's created, right? Which means here there is a differentiation. Whenever if you need the data, if you need the employee table data just in a query or in the front end, I need something like employee 1, 2, 3 Ravi data from 400 client means easily it will go and pull the data from here. Why? Because here there is a logical system you defined. So immediately it will go and pull the data from here, from the query. Suppose you don't want to that one, then immediately what will happen? If we don't define this logical system, why? Because here you have the same employee number, here you have the same employee number, so there is some clashes here, right? So that's to avoid this one. If you define the logical systems, then you can easily identify the data within the landscape, right? So the data flow operations and everything will work if you define it. If you don't define it, so it will be system will be in the confusion status, right? So that's why the logical system is very important here. We can create it without that one, but in the future you may face the issues, but it's not the suggestible approach to do that one. Okay, any other questions?
Yes, sir. Regarding the client, cross client and client specific, can you explain once?
Okay, cross client. Cross means it's all the clients, entire system. All the clients means entire system related objects. So client specific means only the particular client related changes. Those are the client specific. Objects means only some objects are only the client specific. Some data is only client specific data. Means only the dedicated to the 400 client only. Some data entire system. Entire system means all the clients can use it. Those are the those are the changes. Those are the data changes. So if you want to do the changes only the 400 client, you can perform login to the 400 client, you can perform the changes. If you want to do the changes entire system wide, you can log into the entire system, any one of the client, you can do the changes. It's kind of so workbench request. Maybe you may get confused by what is mean by workbench request is it. So that's why you can remember client specific and cross client. Client specific means the particular client only, either the 100 or 200 or 10, that the client changes only. Cross client means entire system wide changes. The entire system wide changes means some customization, some. So how to log into the client, how to log into the newly created client then? You created the client fine, 0000001, some 100, 200, 300 that you created. Then how to log into the newly created client then? Because here we are getting the so 001 client. Then how to log in? Then which user I have to use it? Maybe SAP Star, DDIC. Then how can I log in the SAP Star? There is no password. How can I know my password? I know the password of the 0001, 001, 100 client and 200 client. What about the 400 client password? I don't know this one. Then what is next step? Right? Then SAP Star. Then what is the SAP Star password here? Right? What is the SAP Star password? Whether will it work SAP Star password? No. Then what is the password here? We have to use it. Here, initially, the first time when you are logging to the newly created client, you have to do some changes in the system. So for the newly created client, you need to change you need to enable the SAP Star password, you have to enable it. SAP Star, you have to enable it. For login to the newly created client, right? To log into the so newly created client, to log into the newly created client, then what you have to do? First, you need to log in client. So you need to you need to enable the SAP star with password. You have to enable it. That is the common password for the newly created client. Common password for the newly created client. This we have to enable it. This we have to enable in the systems. We need to enable the SAP star with password. We have to enable it in the systems, right? So what is that? What is that one? So we need to enable that one. So how to enable this one? So to enable this one, you need to change the one profile parameters. You have to change it. You need to change the profile parameter. We have to change it. We have to change it. What is that profile parameter? So how to change it? Then right? Why? Because to log into the newly created client, we need to enable the SAP star to password, enable it. By default, it will be disabled status. You cannot log in with the pass. So, but for that one, you need to, one parameter, you have to change it. So one new topic which will come, that is called the profiles and parameters, right? So before I go ahead and create that one, you guys are okay, right? To directly go ahead, or you need practice to practice on the client creation and logical system. You want to practice, or shall I go ahead and explain the this newly created client how to log in and profiles and parameters topic?
Go ahead, Ravi. No problem.
Okay. Okay. I think
I
everyone.
have one doubt, sir.
Yes.
While creating logical system, it is asking for the logic. So what should I do?
It is asking
It's asking for the logic.
logic
Request, sorry, request.
right?
Can you speak loudly?
You can click on the create button. Okay, just to suppose, let me show you once again. So BD54, just when you are going to the BD54 is the transaction code for the logical system. Just click on the create button, right? So someone is logged. I think you have locked, right?
Yeah.
Just come out of the from the screen. I will show you.
Okay.
Here lock entry is defected. SM12. Right? Uday locked the display only. So which means you have locked the data. Here we can see in SM12 we discussed it, right? So here we can see the data. Here we can see everything here, right? So if you go to BD54, okay, SAP star DDIC are not allowed to do the changes. What I can do, I can log into the login with the basis user, right? Login with the basis user. So here BD54, then go to the BD54. So when you are create,
Locked.
okay, just click on the create button. Suppose you want to define for the suppose CLNT 200 client, then 200 client you are defining. So then just can you click on the save button, it will ask the transport request number. Why? Because it will move the changes to the development and quality and the production systems. So that changes will be recorded into the one request here. One request will be recorded. What you can do, if it is asking the transport request, click on the save button. So it is asking empty, then just click on the create, just to pull up, just give the short description, click on the OK button, that request will be created, which means the data was saved. So that same request number we can move to the your quality and so production systems you can move it. Quality and production systems you can move it. So quality and production systems we can perform the changes. Quality and production systems you can perform the changes in the landscape. That is what here the intention, right? So that is the you can create the request. Okay. Either click on the create button or you can save the existing transport request also. That is fine. Okay, so now let's start discussing about the profile and parameter administrations, right? what is meant by profiles and parameters. So in your system, in your SAP system, if you want to do any changes in the system, so you have to come to the, so you need to remember this profiles and parameter administration topic. Any changes, suppose you want to increase the background process, you want to decrease the background process, you want to change the memory parameters, you want to any changes is required in the system, you need to remember this topic here. Here there are the two transaction code for the profiles and parameters, RZ10 and RZ11. Okay, RZ10 and RZ11 are the profiles and parameters related transaction codes here. So RZ10 is for the, so in the system actually we have the, so two types of profiles are there. Two types of profiles in the system. Two types of profiles in the system. One is the so instance profile, default profile. So then second one is the instance profile, right? Instance profile, default profile and instance profile. All the default settings related are available in the default profile. So that instance specific, it is available in the instance profile. So which means instances means we have by default we have the ASCS instance profile and SAP app server profiles, right? That's why. So types are there, two types of default profile and instance profile. So instance means ASCS instance and SAP app server profile, ASCS and SAP app server profile. So default profile means all default changes are available in the default profile. All the default modes, default things are available in the default one. So here, where can I go ahead and do the changes? Why? Because this profiles contains parameters. So this profile, default profile contains default parameter. Then instance profile contains instance parameters. Suppose ASCS profile. ASCS means message server, NQ server. Those related changes we want to do, you can go open this ASCS profile, then you can do the changes here. So SAP app server profile. App server means each app server we have the dispatchers, ICMap, work process, all SAP related buffers, memory areas, all these settings, instance specific. So we can do the changes in this instance, and we can do the changes in this app server profiles. So how can I go ahead and change the profiles here? So here you can go ahead and change the profiles in the RZ10 or RZ11 are the two transaction codes where you can go ahead and change the profiles and parameters here. So in the RZ10, if you change the parameter value in the RZ10, if you need to change the parameter value in RZ10, then you need to restart the system. Then only the value of the parameter will be affected, right? So here the negative way, if you change the parameter value in the RZ11, then you no need to restart the system. You no need to restart the system. This is the temporary changes only, but these are the permanent changes only, These are the, that's why we will call it as the static parameters. RZ10 is the static parameters and RZ11 is the dynamic parameters. RZ11 is the dynamic parameters, right? Parameters. What did this mean by static? Means definitely you need to restart the system. Why? Because those are the permanent changes. Dynamic means you no need to restart the system. It will be it will be affected immediately after you changes, right? Those are the changes. But all the parameters are not static. So we cannot identify also. So how can we can identify but we cannot say which one is the static and the dynamic. Why? Because we have the lakhs of parameters are there. So then here, how can I go ahead and do the changes and how to do the changes then? Suppose RJ10, right? We can go to the RJ10 is the transaction code. RJ10 is the transaction code here. Here you can go to the here. So here by default nothing is there. You need to import the profiles here, right? Go to the here, sorry, RJ10. Here, go to the here, import profiles from the active server. This is a one-time activity after the installation. We need to import the profile from the OS level to SAP level. We have to import it. Then go to the profiles. So if you go to the RJ10, okay, I'm going to the RJ10 is the transaction code here, right? Then here there is a profile. If you go to the profile, we have the so types of profiles are there, right? So here see default profile and instance profile. So in the instance profile also we have the ASCS instance profile and application server instance profile. See the naming convention. So profile default ASCS means SID underscore ASCS underscore host name. Same here application server profile. So SID underscore D instance number host name. These are the types of profiles here. Suppose if you go to the default profile, then select the profile, which profile you want to change it, then extended maintenance, select the extended maintenance. These two are not related. Why? Because these two are the some basic maintenance and administrative data. So which cannot be used for the changes of the profiles, right? Don't use this one. Use the second, third option. Click on the display or change button, display button or change button. So here you can see the DB hostname same default parameter. All the default things are available here, right? You can see here. So all these things are available here. So the same time instance profile also, we go to the any one of the instance profile 04 instance profile extended maintenance. You can see so all the parameter. This is the parameter name. This is the value. So system name means 04. If this value is there here, then only SAP system is starting here. Suppose you can see work process related parameters. ~p underscore NO underscore DIA. So BTC. So here, so DIA means dialog. How many dialogues? 4. BTC 3. Work updates 1. Spool 1. So suppose I want dialog work process should be 6. Then just click on the change button. Instead of 4, just make it 6. Then copy. Then go back. Okay. So then profile. So save it. Go back. Then save it. Save it. So then it will be saved. Right? Save. Activate. Okay. Save. Copy, save, activate. These are the things we have to do that one. Now you have changed it. You have changed it. But is it immediately affected here? For 04 application server, you changed like 6 BT, 6 dialog work process. But here only 4 are there. But what about the rest? Then in this case, you need to restart the system. You need to restart the system. Just I did the restarting the system. If you do the restart of the system, what will happen? So that immediately the changes will be affected here. Immediately the changes will be affected here. The changes means after the restart, you mentioned like here 4 dialog that will be affected, right? See here. I'm restarting the system here.
Sir, why we need to change the parameter?
So if there is a requirement in your organization, so initially you will get the 10 dialog work process. You don't want to 10, then you can decrease it. Why? Because each process it requires some amount of memory. Because of this dialog work process, we are getting the memory issues. Then in this case, what you have to do? You need to increase the process or you need to decrease the process. So based upon the requirement, suppose you have the 10 dialog work process, they cannot handle the 100 users at a time, right? So in this case, what you have to do, you need to increase the dialog work process. How can we increase that configuration? You have the by default configuration is exist SAP configuration, but you don't want to use that one. You have to use more. Then in this case, you need to come to the parameter sections. Then we need to increase the resources. See here, it is started. Then check it here. See here, you can see. So dialog work process changed. Now 6 dialog work process, right? Starting with 0, it's 6 dialog. Previously, we have 3 only, which means 4. 4 dialogues are there. Now 6 dialogues are there. So if we go to the application server, that application server, we have the six dialogue workflows are there, which means we changed it. Something configuration we have changed it. Suppose like that configuration in SM50, we changed it, sir. That's why we have the 6. Previously it was 4, now 6, right? So same as like any changes in the system. So not only here, suppose select the any one of the profile, go to the extended maintenance, see. So if anything requirement is there, you can change it here. So if not, suppose you don't know the what is the parameter value, go to the change value, go to the add parameter, here browse it, you will get the number of parameters here. Here you will get the number of parameters here, which parameter you need to set, and all these things you have the options here, right? TP, audit, bin, OS, JVM. So all the parameters are there. So we cannot remember all those things, parameters and everything, right? So here you can see these parameters are there. So if any requirement from the SAP or as part of the EWA recommendations or someone or your managers are, they will ask you to change the some parameters, right? So then you can change the parameters. Here one parameter name is configured as the 95%. Then what I can do, I can make it like so 96%. Just 1% I increase it. Copy, right? Go back, copy, 2 times copy, go back, save, activate, save and activate. Like that you need to activate it. Like this we have to change the parameter, but immediately it won't affect it. You need to restart the system. Why? Because these are the static parameters. Sir, how can I know which parameter is static or which parameter is dynamic? Yeah, it's simple identification check we can perform it. /n RZ11, you can take it here. Here you can put the parameter name here. So what is the parameter? Suppose like example here GW slash. So suppose like one parameter, which we go to this parameter value and see. So here the parameter value is defined as C, this one. Here only display is possible, which means this is the static parameter. Definitely you have to go to the RZ10, you need to change it. Suppose some parameters, suppose like some parameter. So some gateway related parameter, suppose like DW slash gateway second for some of the gateway related parameters. Suppose so just want to show the some change button, GW ACL mode. Okay. So suppose GW, suppose gateway related some parameters. Okay. Gateway related some parameters, ACL underscore mode. Just click on the display button. Here you see the change value button, which means this is directly you can change it. Thus you can directly change it here. This is directly you can change it. So which means your changes are so changed. Your changes is done, but these changes are not permanent. Will be lost during the server restart. So it's not, it's only temporary only, because it's a dynamic switching. Dynamic switching means, so it's a dynamic parameter. Immediately the value will be affected, but it's not permanent one. It's not permanent one. How can we check means? So just come to the here in RZ11, check the status of the profile. The parameter value is dynamic switchable. Dynamic switchable, then that is the dynamic parameter, but those are the temporary, it's not permanent. So after the restart again the value comes to the previous status. So static parameter means RZ10, we change the parameter value in the RZ10, you need to restart the system. That is the static parameter and the dynamic parameter value differences, right? So any questions from anyone regarding this profile parameter and everything? So why we have discussed this one means, so to log into the newly created client, to log into the newly created client, we need to change the one parameter value that is called the login slash no underscore automatic underscore so user SAP star is equal to 0. It should be 0. So this should be 0. Then only you can change the value. If you go to the RZ11 and see, okay. So login slash no underscore. If you don't know parameter name, just click on the browse button. Okay, just to browse button. You will get the list of parameters which are defined. You will get it out from here. Right? Click on the display button. So you can see here this is value 0, which means see here your documentation. So here if you see the documentation, okay. So control of the automatic login of the SAP star user with password. So this is 1 means deactivated. So 0 means it's activated. So 0 means activated, but it's a not the dynamic parameter. It's a static parameter. In this case, you have to go to the RZ10. RZ10, you have to go to the RZ10. Then maybe we need to, it's a default, right? Maybe you can set in the default profile, extended maintenance, change it, then check whether it is already there here or not. So here, yes, you can see here this client. So it's a login slash no automatic user SAP star equal to 0 already set here, already set to 0 then. So it means which is allowed. If not, then what we need to do? We need to just change to the 0, copy, then save it, copy and save it. There is a save option. Otherwise, we just click back. Do you want to save the changes? Yes. Save the changes, yes, and activate. Then activated. So then if you restart the system, then after that you can log into the system. Okay. So if you then that changes is for the to log into the any newly created client with SAP star and pass is allowed here. See here, I logged into the 200 client here, right? With SAP star with the PAS is the default password. Now you logged into the systems. Any client you can log in with SAP star. Any newly created client you can log in now. Suppose 100 client, then SAP star with the pass. SAP star with the pass. I logged into the system now. But how I logged into means I have enabled the emergency user. I have enabled it, so I can log into the systems now, right? So these parameters are so entire system-wide related parameters, system-wide configurations. If you change the any client, you can go ahead and change it, but it will affect to the all the clients and entire system-wide related parameters. Okay, so this is the way you need to change the profiles and parameter, and also to log into the newly created client, you need to change this profile parameter value to 0. So some more parameters. Suppose if you want to go some other configuration, you want to change it. So go back to the here, select the any one of the profile, go to the extended maintenance, change it, click on the create button. If you don't know, just click on the browse button. You will get the number of files, number of automatic restart, automatic instance service started. So suppose this is for the so automatic startup. When the SAP started, automatically this will be started. Automatically this will be auto start. So then I stop it. Whenever the host restart happens, the services will be started automatically. Just this is a 0, which means disabled. 1 means it will be enabled. Like that. So I have configured it. Like that, you have the some other parameters. Depends upon the you may get the list what parameters and what is the value. Depends upon that, you need to change the values here. Suppose you want to change the memory value here 225 2,50,000 is there. Then you want to change that value to the 2,40,000. Then suppose example I'm giving. Then just click on the so change button. Yes, add. Go back, copy. 2 times copy, go back, save, then activate. Save and go back and activate. So here save and activated. So we have activated, which means so here this is the so this we have to restart the system. If you do the changes in the object 10, definitely you need to restart the system to affect the parameter value. Okay, to affect the parameter value, you need to perform the changes. Okay, this is the profiles and parameter concept. right? So yeah, anything you can change it, either instance profile or default profile, do the restarts. So I will give you this some profiles as a assessment, then you can change those profiles as per the recommendations. Okay, I will provide the few parameters in the group, then you can change those parameters and try to restart the systems. Okay, any questions from anyone?
We can change it from OS level also.
OS level also we can change it. Yeah, that will come. So first of all, so if these people can understand the SAP level how you are changing, then same way I can explain during the file system concept time, I will explain OS level. So yeah, I will explain it that one also. Any questions from anyone? So please practice it. Okay. Can you create the user ID SAP level? You can use the basis user. You can use the basis user. That is fine. Why? Because so basis user you can use it, or you can so maybe Formula can help you for creation of all your user accounts in the this PRD system. Okay, all your PRD system. Maybe if she is not available, and just I ping in, I will ping her. Umashankar, you know, right? You don't know, right? I think how to create the user IDs. Okay, I will help you. So for creation this one. Okay, all your user IDs. Otherwise, you can use the